Got the motor back in. Everything's hooked up, ready to roll. No oil in it yet, no water. But the lines are all hooked up, and I'm going to get a couple of different valve covers and get a breather. And instead of the oil fill cap, have a breather in here, and I'll put one on each side. And so we're going to delete the PCV valve system and just run it old school with the breathers, and we'll see how that goes. And you know, if it don't work, I can still do something different. So, but I think that'll be the cleanest, you know, without having to run extra hoses and another breather can. So we'll see if we can get away with that. That thing is ready to roll. So I'll get my flywheel and clutch back on there. I got the rear part off, getting ready to mount the transaxle in there. I'm going to touch up a little bit of the scratches and stuff. I repainted this bar after I beat it up. And I remember now I don't need this part, so I'm going to hack that off, paint it again. And then this is the bracket for the Mendeola. There's a spot I got to hack out of here to clearance that nut right there, and I'll repaint that. So I got this all scratched up also. Everything went pretty smooth as far as hooking up the fuel lines and the electrical on the motor. Can't wait to hear that thing run. It's going to be awesome. Got the flywheel and the clutch back in there. New bolts. And we're ready to put the transaxle in there. Everything I'll need to do to that I'll be able to do when it's bolted in the car. Got the back of this. I got the those two little mounts which you'd use for the Porsche transaxle. Cut those off. Got everything painted, ready to roll. Got the notch cut out right here for this bracket to clear this little nut. So everything is ready to roll as far as getting that thing mounted. So we'll get that done now. Moving right along on everything here. Got a couple different parts ordered for the transaxle. I got the CV stubs coming. On the last video I said they were Corvette. Those are from a Porsche. And then the Corvette axle. And then the Corvette outer. But the inner is from a Porsche. And I think I'm going to mount a breather right here and just vent off of each valve cover. Run some tubing over to the breather. And then also put a breather over here for the transaxle and vent that right there and kind of keep the, you know, symmetrical. Try and make it look nice. And I'm going to go ahead and use the factory 5 mounts for the rear coilovers. I just found out the other day that there's actually a fix for this thing so it's not so weak standing out here. Just a plate that bolts on the top and comes around and grabs it from the top. There's a guy that's been thrashing on his car at the track all year long, and he said that's held up pretty good, so we'll go with it. And here's the springs and the shocks for the rear. 650 pound spring, I assume that's what that means at 650. For the rear, Quick Racing Products again on the shock and the spring package, so I'm going to get that in there, and then I'll be able to put some weight on the rear suspension, get the jack stands out from under it. So I'm sitting in a pretty good spot as far as different parts arriving soon, being able to get things bolted up, get the exhaust mounted up, you know, and then overall get it started, get it running, get the body on it for a check, make sure the wheels are going to be centered because I still haven't done that yet. What a project, man. One thing after another. Be so glad when that thing is done. Finally got the rear suspension on it. Shocks, coilovers mounted up. Tires on it. You can see it's a little bit too low right now, I believe. Quite a bit of negative camber, and there's a lot of toe in on it. Same thing on the other side. So we'll kind of get that closer, eyeballing it. Got the brake-in oil for the motor I need. I got the oil for the transaxle I need. And I got parts that should be here today, like some tubing and some fittings for the transaxle. I got what I need to put the axles together, get those bolted in there. What else I got going? Oh, I sent the cables off. The shifting cables, get those shortened up. You know, they just need to be, one of them I think was like 3 1/4, the other one was like 4 1/4 inches shorter. Go directly, you know, pretty much a straight path right to that shifter. Kicked over underneath the starter just a little bit, run along the side of the oil pan. But if they're any longer, it wants to go up against the headers, so shorten that up, keep it away from the exhaust as much as possible. I do think I am going to go ahead with that dual breather system here. I think it'll look good. You know, with that dual intake coming off there, the dual exhaust, the dual breathers, you know, everything's just symmetrical. I think it'll look pretty nice. So I'm getting excited, down to a few little details to get this thing. Oh, I got a flexible line for the clutch, come off the slave cylinder, so I can finish plumbing my clutch line, get the clutch hooked up, put some fluid in it, bleed it, get that working. So I made a little bracket for the breathers right here. Kind of a funky looking little thing, but I think it'll pass. So the breathers will hook on right here, one on each side. One will vent the motor, and then the other one will vent the transaxle. And I'll use AN fittings on there with this tubing. Other than that, I'm still gathering up parts and getting ready to finish it up.